Okay, Whovians all over the world, hello and welcome to another Who Corner to Corner podcast. My name is Paul and I'm with my co-host Geoff.
Good evening.
And also Freya, who's joining us yet again for another Flux review / reaction.
Hello.
Okay,
Hiya.
So this was another episode of quite intense action from start to finish, I think. Geoff, you've only just watched it, so tell us some of your thoughts to begin the podcast with, me old chum.
Where do I start?
Yeah, I'm letting you start this time because normally you ask me, so I've just got the jump on you there.
You've ambushed me. God, there was an awful lot going on in this one again. We got a lot of answers, I felt. Finally kind of finding out about division.
Oh, yes.
Which was not... Well, I think we talked last week, didn't I? I said I thought it was Gallifreyan, and I was right about that.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah. I think I asked the question, have we been told that it is definitely Time Lord Gallifreyan? Because I don't think we just assumed it until this point. Yeah. Maybe what happened, actually, young Chris Chibbs heard our podcast and thought, oh, crap, I haven't actually told them it's Gallifrey, have I? So then he goes back in and writes it all in this week's episode.
I don't think that happened.
You don't know? You might
they can't do it that fast.
Yeah, they can. It's around technology these days.
Some people, Freya, they got no idea how TV works.
It's all magic. You just click your fingers and it happens, I'm sure.
No. I heard what happens is they just plug a cable into the back of Chibbs's head and he has thoughts and then it materialises on the TV screen.
Exactly that. I don't know why people think it's anything really complicated.
Yeah. That is how TV works.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first. TV uncovered.
Fake news.
How can you say such a thing? The voice of teenagers. It's all fake these days. So what did you think of it, Freya? Because you were sat next to me. You were quite quiet during this episode, actually. You didn't say an awful lot. I think I was kind of saying more than you were.
Yeah, it was good.
It felt good. Right, there you go. It was good. That was it.
It wasn't.
It's really cool.
How to explain it? It gave an awful lot in terms of kind of some revelations and shocks again, but it didn't feel quite as sort of dramatic in a way as the previous 4 episodes, because it felt a bit like it was a bridge between what's gone before and what's to come. And now this is probably a really bad kind of analogy, but back in the day,
say it anyway.
I'm going to say it anyway. When I was reading the Harry Potter books, I thought the first 4 kind of charged along, with a whole load of, action and kind of setting it all up and blah, blah, blah. And then you get to Order of the Phoenix, which felt like it kind of bridged the gap between what had gone before and what came after. And it set it all up and kind of established a load of, kind of resolved a load of things. You look very confused. Hopefully anyone who's listening will know what I mean.
Yeah, I sorry. I know, you know what Geoff means, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The events, that is the right book, isn't it? That's number 5, isn't it?
It is number 5. Actually, I have to say, on our Twitter page on Who's C2C, I've just realised I put chapter 3. What is going on in my head today? Honestly, it's been one of those days.
You've had a very busy day.
It's been one of those days.
That's like on a couple of weeks ago, you said you just watched chapter 3 and we'd only just finished chapter 2.
Maybe you just really like the number 3.
I really like the number 3.
Or you really are time traveling.
Massively underrepresented, in my opinion.
But what I mean is the events of Order of the Phoenix then kind of influence everything that comes after it.
Yeah.
And so there's not a kind of singular main event in it, like the Troy Wizard tournament or Sirius Black in the 3rd book and stuff, but all the stuff with. Do you know what? Never mind.
Welcome, Potter fans, to Harry Potter Corner to Corner, the podcast that unmasks Harry, Hermione, and all their lovely little friends as they journey from one year of Hogwarts to another, encountering danger, death, disaster, and destruction on a massive scale. We should totally do a Harry Potter podcast.
It's going to be a short series, but do you know what I mean, though?
Mini
Like,
series.
We know what it means, don't we?
limited
Yes.
7. You know, a lot has happened in this, but it was not.
It was kind
It
of
wasn't
like
dramatic.
Oh, I tell you what it was.
It was, but
there
it wasn't.
It had no booms.
It didn't have many booms. Apart
It
from
had booms as in like, whoa, that's a thing.
Yes,
But it
but
didn't have
not
like
like
booms as
planets
in cool.
exploding and Sontarans warring. But that's not a bad thing, because
No.
what this done is given us
Gave
the
us
answers.
information.
It
Yes.
was information, yeah.
Rather than just like question.
Yes.
Question.
So,
There's still some
you know,
questions, but you know.
There are still some questions, and we can come to some of those in a minute. So, but things like what's the guy in the tunnels in Liverpool? You
Williamson.
know, people saying he's got nothing to do with anything.
How wrong they are!
You know,
Everyone has
again,
something to do with it.
it's 6 episodes. It's one story. You know, it's a bit like Claire in the first episode. She didn't appear again until number 4. You know, of course there's going to be something. So it looks like Williamson has got some sort of time leaking type thing, and all the tunnels.
He has literally built tunnels, time tunnels in time with doors behind. I love the idea of that. You know, when I was little, even when I was younger than Freya, I used to be obsessed with the idea of labyrinths and a labyrinth that you could walk into and sort of lose yourself in space and time, because you know the geometry of a labyrinth is ridiculous. It's crazy when you really stop to think about it. And if you expand it into 4 dimensions rather than 3, just imagine the possibilities. And that's what I think they've kind of done with this thing, the idea of Williamson's tunnels, which I believe are an actual thing, right?
They are an actual thing, yeah. And because I
built them. Well, now we know.
Because I looked it up after Halloween Apocalypse.
I imagine you're not the only one, because I did also. I'm trying to sound like an expert on this, but literally I only heard of them when this thing started.
Yeah, and he was, I think, essentially employing people who had otherwise been unemployable, wasn't he? Because he had the money to do it, and he wanted to give something back and give them a purpose. And even though the purpose of the tunnels was nonsense, it was giving people a meaning in their life, which was quite interesting. It also made me briefly think a bit about the doors in the Matrix films. Do you remember how the doors are sort of the gateway portals to the different programs and stuff? And there's that bit where the Merovingian runs through a door in the in the car park, I think, is it? And then when Neo opens it, he's in a chateau.
Quite a Matrix back of me, mate. I can't remember the Matrix. I only watched it I watched it 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. I mean, and before that, the first time I'd seen it was in 1999 or 2000 or whenever it was out.
Yeah, I've seen them a few times.
I can gather that. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So, and also tonight confirmed the theory about multiverses as well, which
which was
a lot of chatter about that online,
I think.
Yes, because the Kardashians.
Kardashians, yeah. The Kardashian Carvanistas.
Yes, the Kasavin.
Kasavin, there you are. Children must have a thing for the letter K. Must have. It just got. I thought of a really great alien that begins with K. Not enough aliens begin with the letter K in the world.
Rename it. He should,
in my opinion,
change his Chris spelling to K-R-I-S.
Probably does in secret. It's Chris Kibnall. That's like his cool name. Cool with a K. Cool
his
Chris.
street name.
K. Yeah.
Careful with the number of
I tell you what I thought. I've just written myself a note down so as not to forget it. And Freya's been looking at me strangely, thinking maybe.
I thought you'd
I
written.
can't read his writing.
I thought you'd written. What is he talking about with Potter?
Yeah, what is Geoff on about here? What's he talking about now? What's he kicking off at? I'll tell you what I've just written down, which is.
Tell me actually, because I don't know what you wrote.
I can't read that. It begins with H. It's humour. There was a lot of humour in this episode.
Yes.
I think Freya's right. I think you're both right, actually, because you said there wasn't any booms, like big booms.
Like papooms.
There was no papooms, which kind of threw my expectations slightly. With this being a penultimate episode of the whole thing, I was expecting everything kind of to come crashing in.
But in a way, it kind of, I suppose that should
loosen things up a little bit, because I think towards the end of Village of the Angels, things were getting really tense. And of course, that cliffhanger was just mental. And we only talked about the resolution of that, but we should do it in a minute. But I love that. Okay, two things I really loved in this more than anything else. Yes, we had the Division Revelations. That was great. I think we probably kind of figured out something, but it was good to have all that stuff confirmed. Stops that speculation. Now we know what that is. But what I'm thinking is the guy in the mountain, the hermit, right?
Oh, he was great.
He was brilliant. Yeah.
Honestly. And I love the humor in this. There's been a lot of it in between the booms and kabooms, right?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of lifted the episode. And I don't know whether this is down to, it can't be just down to the inclusion of John Bishop, but I think the scripts just seem in the lightheartedness really shines through as much as the darkness and as much as the complexities and, you know, the sort of danger of swarming.
What do people do in dark times? They laugh about it. They make jokes.
Exactly. Well, you know, when you come all this way up the mountain, you haven't even brought me newspaper or whatever. You know? I would totally say that. If I was a hermit on a mountain, I would absolutely say that.
You so would?
I would. She knows I would. You know, wouldn't you?
I do know you would.
I would totally do that. Sorry, Geoff. I talked over you.
That's right. I was going to say, and I like the bits with Dan and I can't remember his name.
Jericho.
Yes, that was the second thing which I'm really
dropping up and down. Yeah. You know, it was kind of it was a bit slapstick, but it worked really well.
But it's in the style of those things, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like hiya.
Yeah,
it's a bit like the Mummy or something.
The Mummy, Romance of the Stone, all of those kind of archaeological tomb raiding adventure. You know, Nathan Drake on the PlayStation. All those things have a really killer humor and great action sequences, and
after like you said, the intensity of last week, it was nice to kind of
just take a breather almost.
It's very nice how Yaz took to leading them.
Yes, I also
in the
liked
bit
that
with the like kind of tour guide person, I don't know who it was, but when they were in Liverpool and they were asking about the tunnels, Alfie, that was his name, Alfie.
Well done.
Right, and she goes, "Oh no, I'm fine. It's these two who need
this little lady."
Yeah, this little lady can look after herself. It's these two you need to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he says, "I wouldn't like to think of you down there on your own in the tunnels."
This pretty lady, she can look after herself. Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, I think probably the overall thought of this one, and we can go into depth in it more in a sec. But it was another really strong, superb episode. But it wasn't filled with boom of the kind of pyrotechnic variety, but more the sort of mind blowing booms, and then kind of I think it makes sense that there was a breather and a slightly slower pace, which it wasn't really when you think about Dan.
I think there was a lulling pace at all.
Well, no, there wasn't really.
It sort of took us away slightly from the. Well, here's the thing, actually, because was it actually chapter 3 where was it? Oh gosh, I can't remember. So chapter 3 was another one, which was a sort of a linking episode between, because we just had War of the Suntarans, and then we got the whole Temple of Atropos thing, which was kind of just weird, right? That's it. But in War of the Suntarans, it was like the Doctor was involved in almost the B plot. I mean, it wasn't the B plot; it was the Suntaran plot. Whilst the bigger stage was being encountered by Yaz and Dan and Vinda, right? Yeah. In this way, it's almost reversed. The Doctor is center of the action in the big narrative. She's there face to face with essentially her mum, right? Or her adoptive mum. And is kind of coming out of this stuff. Whereas the B plot, in a way, is then served by Yaz and Dan.
But they are helping towards.
They're all helping towards.
Exactly,
And this is why, in some ways, the way the narrative of this whole series has been structured, it doesn't really allow you to define those basic concepts of A plot, B plot, C plot. It's all the plot.
Yeah,
That's what I think. It's all the plot, and there are different strands of it coming out in different at different times, but they all weave together. They all create this massive tapestry that can't exist fully without the other bits of it. So it's not separate plot.
No, you couldn't.
Plot. It's one story, all combining. It's like a mystery thriller. It's so like something like Broadchurch and what's it? The Torchwood series, Children of Earth, where things are coming together over a series of episodes, like Stranger Things, where you just literally got chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like a novel. It is like Babylon 5. It's all those things Deep Space Nine, which sci-fi can do really well, and which I'm so pleased to see Doctor Who becoming.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a
How
breath
many
right now.
sci-fi films has Daddy mentioned?
Now, also, I'd like to I want to drop a thought in.
Go on then.
To come back to you next week to see if I'm right again. So, do you remember a few weeks ago there was a phone number that you could ring and leave a message for the doctor?
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Oh.
We do remember that, yes.
Yeah, your dad sent you the number, didn't he? And you were like, I'm not ringing a random phone number.
Freya was staying away from home, weren't you? Were you
That's
at
it.
Gran's or something?
Yeah.
I can't remember now. At Granny's or something. I was working at home and I heard this. I got this number and I just texted it to Freya and I said, ring this number. What did you put?
I put, wait, let me get it up. Dad. Oh, right. So he goes, I go, how do I know someone's not hacked my dad's phone and is trying to scam me? And I just kept on asking, why? What? No.
And I'm like, no, it's me. Honestly, really, it's your dad. Ring this number. And then I thought, hold on, I'm a responsible parent now. And I'm telling my teenage daughter to ring a random number. I haven't rang it, so I better ring it myself just to make sure it's actually all right. And then we had to sort of ask a question that only we would know the answer to. I was like, oh dear. But good that she knows these things.
Yes, you were safe and cautious, which is good. So,
sorry,
in they never kind of properly made a big thing about this phone number. It was just sort of spread a bit.
They said something like it could be included.
That's it, yeah. So if you read the terms and conditions, it said
I just read it.
It might be.
No, I rang it. I didn't do anything. I
Geoff did. He left a message.
Yeah, I left a message about the Zygon nest at the end of my street.
Zygons, yeah.
Because it said if you've seen strange activity of any sort, please report it. So on the terms and conditions, it said we will listen to all of these. Well, unless they kind of got millions of them. And there's the opportunity for it to be featured. I think it said in the show and marketing.
Oh, right.
So what I'm wondering is if next week
we might get
they might have like them all overlapping and all people like ringing in overlapping rather than just pay a load of extras to do
that's great, isn't it? That's like bringing the audience into the show. I love
so that's what I wonder if they might do, because presumably some Tyrants are going to be running riot, everything invading Earth, isn't it? So it'd be great to see if they do something like that, because it's interesting, I think, as well, that remember when they started filming last year and there was pumpkin scene outside Dan's house and people said maybe it'll air on Halloween, and it did. And if you've seen some of the promo shots for next week's episode, there's notes on the wall and one of them says December 5th, 2021. Something to do with, so they obviously knew.
When Yaz and Dan and Jericho found out that it was December 5th, they just didn't get the year. You were like, that's the date of the last episode.
Exactly, yeah.
So this was all planned, wasn't it? This was planned to be scheduled on. And
do you remember the other week a trailer came out about Village of the Angels, and in it there was one trailer that said November 28th, and then the other one said November 21st, and then that one disappeared.
Oh, I didn't see that. No, I don't know that one. So
I wonder if they had a pretty concrete idea of when it was all going to go out, and there was a couple of
made a few options.
Just in case it had to shift a little bit. So it's exciting that next Sunday we're watching it as it's supposed to be happening, for real.
Well, we were with the Halloween apocalypse as well, weren't we?
Well, exactly, so you can kind of assume that this has all gone on in real time. So I want to find out, and hopefully they'll tell us, why the Flux was launched, or obviously to kind of wipe out the reality in the universe that we're in, but because of the Doctor and what she said, what power do you think I have? What are you so afraid of? So I want to hopefully we'll find out.
Well, didn't Tecton said it's because you inspire people?
Oh yes, you're right. She did.
Give them hope, which is dangerous.
Yes, that's true.
But it doesn't really kind of answer it, I suppose. Why would you wipe out an entire universe, right? It's not just a series of
one
planets,
person,
right? It's not just a galaxy. It is billions of galaxies across, the whole universe thing. And it's all going to crunch down into Earth, which is a typically bonkers sci-fi, end of the universe kind of thing.
piss off the Doctor because she loves Earth. You know?
Yeah, that's
Basically.
it. Yeah, the irony of that. Yeah, you love this planet so much. Yeah, it's going to be the last thing we destroy.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right, Paul. Tectuan did say that, but it still felt a bit like, yeah, like you said, Fred, there's got to be more to it than just, you know. So presumably the Doctor fled division, and presumably, I guess, was doing the exact opposite of what their job was. And so
just messing things up a little bit, like the Doctor's always done, you know.
Saving people instead of
exactly. Yeah, I mean, what's always happened? Those stories when the Doctor's been given a job to do by the Time Lords, you know, they've never been happy about it. Tom Baker, when he was the Doctor, just sulked. Brain and Morbius, Genesis of the Daleks. You know, it's not down to me to do the Time Lords' dirty work and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. He didn't like it at all, did he?
No, Patrick Troughton as well, even pre-Time Lords, but two Doctors, wasn't it? When he's given the job of investigating Dastari in the space station, and he comes across the Sixth Doctor and Perry and it, Mawson's Harans and stuff, and that gets all crazy. But you know, there has been. I mean, Terrance Dicks did it a lot actually in the novels as well, didn't he? With Players and actually a load more where. I think Terrance Dicks really sort of went with the idea of giving the Doctor these little jobs to do on behalf of the Time Lords CIA then, or obviously could have been the Division. And there's one in that big book there, the big Target collection, written by young Terrance himself, where the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, is given a job to do by the CIA and has his mind wiped. And the inference is that there are loads and loads of missions that the second Doctor's been sent onto. This is when after the war game, so before the trial, before his enforced regeneration. And I just think this whole idea of division and the Doctor's history as revealed in The Timeless Child, it plays into that beautifully. You know,
it does,
really beautifully.
That sort of indeterminate period of time, you know, where things could have happened. And also I was going to say, I wonder if this recalling the Doctor was why the Jadoon turned up together
interesting.
Unless I slightly missed it, the fugitive status was never sort of properly explained.
Fugitive of division, I suppose.
That's what I'm thinking.
Fugitive Doctor, Joe Martin's Doctor, has gone on the run, decided to jack it in with the division. We saw something which could possibly lead up to that event in the Temple of Atropos in chapter 3, wasn't it? You know, when she's there with her death squad or whatever it was, extraction squad, and she clearly is the boss, but clearly really isn't the boss, because if she does anything wrong, they'll turn around and shoot her. So, you know, that's no kind of way to sort of, you know, crack on with a mission or something like that. So, that's my theory anyway. I kind of think, Joe Martin's Doctor is the one who gets that fugitive status, which would make sense because she's the one that Jadoon are hunting in.
But then they accidentally found Jodie's Doctor and
it all crashed up with Jodie's Doctor as well. So, So interesting.
Did you see the Next Time trailer? Because that fob watch was obviously very important, and there was a shot of, I think, Azure opening it and kind of going into loads of cogs and, you know, time tunnel type thing. So I wonder if that will give us even more to ponder, or whether it will possibly not undo things, but because I suppose there's a small chance that we'll discover that what the Doctor has been led to believe is not what happened, maybe, you know, because some people
by the Master, you mean, the whole thing?
Yes, possibly, but I don't know if I'd like that. I kind of like the developments this has all given her, you know.
I do. I like the Timeless Children thing a lot, but what I like about it is the fact it's restored a mystery to the character of the Doctor, not just from our point of view, that we no longer know who the Doctor is. You know, we thought they were a Time Lord, now it turns out they're not, you know. But there's also the mystery to herself now, because she doesn't know who she is. Tectuan took that away from her by abducting her, like she said in tonight's episode. What if? Exactly. I might have just been left there, you know, for a minute while they went down the shop to get some milk or something.
She doesn't say that, but you know.
Away, or, but there's all different options. And Texoane just took it on herself to snatch this child away, you know, which is just a bad thing. We don't like that sort of thing happening. But then if that mystery is resolved by the finish of 13's era, then it would have kind of been a bit, well, it was a nice journey, but now we know who the Doctor is again.
Yeah.
So, you know, and if the Doctor gets her memories restored and that's all complete then, and some other future showrunner is going to have to do something to restore the mystery of the Doctor. Because don't forget, they attempted this back with the 7th Doctor, with the whole introduction of the other and all that sort of stuff that was kicking off. And that never really got resolved, at least not within TV Doctor Who. It did with pretty much to the Virgin New Adventures with the Lungbarrow story. And even then, that still posed a lot more questions than it answered to some degree. So yeah, it was all... But this is the thing. This is actually why I dislike Lungbarrow a lot, because it just gives the Doctor an identity then that just gets rid of all the mystery, and it's one person writing that, and it's almost like, you know, Doctor Who is so big. Can that sort of thing really be defined by one person? The answer is yeah, of course it can, because all these things have been defined by one person, whether it's Terence Dicks or Robert Holmes or Barry Letts or Philip Hinchcliffe or whoever, you know, over the years, they all take it in turns to establish something that defines the Doctor and moves the, you know, and adds to the mythology, or in some ways just completely contradicts it in some ways, but it's all part of the tapestry. Yeah. But if they got rid of it and we had to do it all over again, yeah, it would be. I'd be disappointed by that, to be honest. Yeah,
I like, you know, hugely what's been done here, and it would be nice to maintain this mystery and not give us the full answers to everything, because you're right. It puts more mystery back into the character. So, you know, if they revealed that, you know, actually it was the Master or something,
it was Agatha all along. It's Master all along.
Yeah, that would be
a bit like that, wouldn't it? Throwing a massive spanner into the works. I mean, I do hope there is some kind of spanner, but I hope also that it comes from something that we've seen already, which I'm pretty sure it will. I think Chris is really, really good at that. You know, a lot of stuff that we're seeing play out in these episodes, he's layered right the way back, probably even in the Power of Three. I'm sure if you look at the Power of Three, there's things going on with Kate Stewart that you think, you know
that leads us nicely into Unit tonight and their return.
It's good. That's professional. That is.
So I like that the Grand Serpent had been, you know, infiltrated it right from the start and was masterminding it all to then, you know, eventually destroy it. And I thought it was quite amusing that he was the Serpent, which is like Hydra, which reminded me of your favourite MCU film, Captain America: Winter Soldier, where Hydra is.
And you're always relating everything back to what you call it, back to Marvel. See, when I saw the snake, I was thinking Kinder, the Mara.
Actually, I also was thinking about a little bit like a Death Eater mark as well.
The Mara predates all of those things, my friend.
Which Death Eater is in Order of the Phoenix, I think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I'm thinking in universe Doctor Who rather than snatching stuff out from outside of it. Honestly,
calm down,
people. If he was in the same room as me now, I'd have him. I would. I'd have him over this desk and I'd slap him like that.
Shut up.
Oh, dear. But it's all good fun. Yeah.
Well, because of what you said about Chibnall layering things, that stuff with Unit back in 2017 ties in with Resolution. You know, when the Doctor phoned to try to get hold of Kate Stewart.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they've been disbanded, which would have been not long after that scene tonight was
no funding.
Yeah, you know, and of course it could all be, you know, put in, you know, retconned to happen tonight. But I kind of think, he was planning that all along.
I suspect so. At least has an outline of the plan.
Yes,
you know,
maybe not the finer details.
Yeah, but, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's what you do when
crime board.
Exactly, which is what you do, right? If you're writing a mystery thriller, that's exactly what you do. You plan out who done it almost, and then you kind of work backwards, and then think, okay, so you know, how are you going to deflect from this moment here? How are you going to hide that but have it visible? You know, hiding things in plain sight, all that sort of stuff.
You wouldn't put a scene in like that in Resolution without it having some purpose to it.
Well, you should do, but it would be a bit rubbish, wouldn't it?
Well,
whereas if it then has a purpose later on.
Yeah.
It's much better, you know. Which again is like what you do when you're writing a book on these things. You know, you put things in chapter 1, 2, and 3 that maybe are not going to pay off until chapter 34 later on.
Yeah, quite. So I imagine that Kate Stewart will be back next week.
I think she is. Was she in the trailer for next week?
Yeah.
I think she was.
Or
her voice was at least.
No,
anyway.
she was in there.
She was in there.
Yeah, she was.
She was. Okay. Yeah. Because they've obviously tried to blow up the house.
That's that was
Which
fun. And she rings up Osgood. I'm going dark.
Yeah.
She says.
Yeah.
Breaks her phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, breaks the phone. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Flip phone, wouldn't it? Hopefully we might see Osgood next week. That'd be nice.
Yeah, we like Osgood.
So I wanted to also say that I liked the set for the division with the tree and all the sort of glowing purple cable things, and I thought it looked really good.
It was good. So, see, this is why young kids have no attention span.
No, because I'm showing you that she was in it.
Oh, she's got a trailer up for
you're watching the trailer.
There she is. Yeah, it's on Torrent Occupation. Yeah. Sorry, Geoff, you were saying about the big tree. Now, I love that actually. I thought that was quite cool.
So cool.
It was very cool, wasn't it?
It was cool, and we spoke about this before, but so much great design work in this, like that
Definitely.
sort of kind of hand-like bit of rock or something.
The station or the whatever it was. Planet
thingy.
thing.
Yeah, remains or something.
Tragic love story.
Yeah. So that also leads us on to that as well. So what do you think? Well, literally, what do you think Swarm and Azura are? Do you think they are the Doctor's like actual parents, or from her universe?
No, I saw someone who put that on Twitter, and I thought, well, where does that even come from? I mean, it could be. Who knows? But that never occurred to me at all. I think that's just they're the villains.
Yeah.
And they're I mean, what did Swarm say tonight? He said, "We are time, and you to all his minions, you are space.
Yeah,
you are a means to our whatever it was, And then he sees to vaporize them or something.
Yeah,
you are our food and our purpose."
So, do you think that they work for Division? Or
well, I don't think they do. No, I think they're an enemy of Division. I think whatever Division was set up to do, then Swarm and Azura are the antithesis to it.
Yeah, because they imprisoned
him. They're destroyers. They destroy things.
Yeah. See, now that's interesting because Division sound like a Black Ops type thing, but also
they're destroyers as well, aren't they? So
but also doing the good as well, when sort of thing, like imprisoning Swarm and and stuff like that. So that it's quite an interesting kind of grey area, like Tecton said to the Doctor, your thing is morality, and basically we don't like that.
The Doctor sees morality as a strength. It's funny, isn't it? Because the best bad guys don't believe that they're bad. They think they're absolutely right in what they do.
I think they're saving the world.
They do.
Yes.
It's like all these people who have phobias and fears about things that are changing in the world. It's like they believe that they're right when they pull up their fences and pull their guns out and start shooting people, for no reason that others can see. But they're not. They're wrong. They're villains. They're doing something criminal and something that shouldn't really be done at all. I'm making a hash of that. You know what I mean, don't you?
Thanos was right. Some might say, but he went about it all the wrong way.
The Master doesn't believe, right, that he or she is the bad guy. They are the bad guy.
Well, that's the thing. You're right.
Master's someone who's been badly done to in life, and yes, they want revenge for what's happened to them and for all the injustices that have been served and the horror they've had to put up with and everything else, and everyone getting in their way. And all they want to do is just bring chaos or bring order or whatever it is. And Tecton, well, she's as strongly as the Doctor argued her case that Tecton had stolen a life from her as a child, Tecton just didn't get it at all. She just didn't even consider that, and still won't entertain that as a possibility. What she did was exactly the right thing to do in her mind, and what she's doing now, using the flux, the weapon, even the choice she gave the Doctor, that Hobson's choice, You know,
what a choice. That's
it's absolutely right. But she's controlling everything. She's manipulating people and events. And Flux and Swarm, Swarm and Azure are doing exactly the same thing for their own purposes. The difference is right now we don't really know what Swarm and Azure's actual purpose is.
I'm glad you said that.
I can see them being disruptive, and
I was a bit worried I'd missed.
People, but
I thought I'd missed something there, but you know, their prime motive is not yet
revealed.
There's obviously history with the Division and the Doctor,
and they've been channeling through the Doctor, right? So there is some kind of weird psychic link or something going on.
But we don't know what yet. So what do you think of Bell and Vinda? Because I mean, obviously they're the Doctor's parents as well.
Yeah, what do you think of that? Have you had that idea?
No,
I don't know any theories at all. I don't see it.
Apparently,
no, I don't stay away. It just doesn't come to me.
Apparently, Vinda will, according to Chibs, will break our heart at the end. But it feels like it might be too obvious if he betrays somehow. They've obviously got.
He'll probably just like die just as Belle gets there.
Just meet, or they just miss out on each other again, or
like
part through a window.
She starts giving birth, and that's when they meet, and then he dies.
Or they end up in different universes again. So and they can look at each other across the division between the universes. Division in the two universes.
Realization.
There you go. Like,
that's a boom moment.
I want that just come out with this stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
you're not even thinking about it, just free flowing.
Free flow, man. That's what it is. Just snaps
coming out. Yeah,
there and everywhere. My brain just fires, and then it retreats again very quickly into a small walnut-shaped house that locks all the doors behind it. So what have we done? So Bell and Vinda. Oh gosh, I don't know.
It's got to be more than just
something as corny and simple as they were the Doctor's parents all along.
Yeah, and it's just a love story. There's got to be more to it than that.
What I think. When I see a lot of these things, what I see is a lot of very simple connections. I think. So, or almost like, I want this to happen, so I'm going to find a way to make it happen. And that's fine, because we all do that. I still do. We all look at these things and we see patterns and we see hopes and, speculations and things we really, really desperately want to happen in these things. But invariably, they don't, because the person who's writing them is already ahead of that. Because, when you're writing these things and you think, okay, so what's going to be really obvious? This, and this. We discount it. And that's like 90% of fan theories straight away, all gone.
We talked about it last week, didn't we? You start kind of...
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, anticipating, this is what's going to happen.
Let me just take a look in my walnut house. Yes, we did. You're right, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what a walnut house is.
It's right in there. It's in my head.
Walnut whip.
Yeah, behave yourself. You and your whip, sunshine. Yeah.
So I like seeing Carvanista back and their absolutely bonkers way of getting a message to him.
That's mental. I love that.
It was a bit like River writing "Hello, Sweetie" in a cliff face, but even bigger. And when you saw them doing all the painting and everything, and then it pulled out from the shot of the Great Wall of China, I thought they were writing it on the wall. It hasn't worked.
That's what I thought.
When you saw it above and below.
It's totally bonkers, right? But that sort of thing, like you said, that would slot into the 11th Doctor's era quite easily. That kind of thing, and it's a lot of fun, and that's what I like about this. It took a few sort of risks with the humour element. It did push it quite a bit, but one of the reasons I've always loved Doctor Who is because it's always been a lot funnier than most other sci-fi on the telly.
I think
character and the humour in it's always been great.
Yeah, I think it's important for to have an element of that in anything really, because some stuff it just doesn't apply, but otherwise it just becomes too po-faced and too serious. And I just think a show like Who, it just doesn't work like that. So the humour is vital to it, I think, really. Much like the MCU as well, which we discussed in our other podcast. What was the other thing I just wanted to say? It's completely gone out my head.
Was it about Iron Man?
No, it wasn't about Iron Man. It was about tonight. So you tweeted about it. So the heartbreaking moment. With Yaz
the hologram conversation.
Yeah. So let's talk about Yaz for a minute. So
Please, let's do this.
Really like her role in all of this. She's been separated from the Doctor quite a lot, but she's more than capable of taking charge and leading things. And she's obviously kind of led that whole cross-time quest, that they've been doing, her, Dan and Jericho. And there was one bit particularly tonight where kind of her police training stuff came to the forefront again, and also the kind of, trying to think a bit like the Doctor and stuff. And so I like that she's been separated, and, we got a bit more spotlight on her, and that bit with the hologram was funny, but quite sort of touching. And it was what? Sad. Yeah, it was. Yeah. They've obviously got a really special bond, and, Yaz is there. I mean, much like Dan, they're there in this situation because of the Doctor. Davros said back in Tennant's day, they're your soldiers. You get them to do your fighting, and that's not strictly true. But the Doctor does inspire people to go along and do things, but I don't ever think that it's not bad things. They're trying to save time and the universe, and it's the right thing. But to the Daleks or the Ice Warriors or whoever, it's contrary to their plan. So of course they think it's bad, don't they?
And they think in militaristic terms. The people that
I have a question about that scene.
Go on then, tell me.
Right. So it said that it would open 2 weeks after they've been apart, right? So Dan said it's been 3 years. So has it been 2 weeks for the Doctor, or has Yaz watched it multiple times, or has she just not had the courage to watch it until then?
Well, the Doctor said this will activate 2 weeks after we've been apart. So
presumably it has already activated a few times, and I took it that Yaz has looked at this a
few times.
Yes.
Then I started overthinking and being like, wait, what? Or has this happened?
No, I thought.
Welcome to my confusing brain.
Yeah, don't think about it too much. Yeah, but yeah, it was a lovely little bit of it. I really liked that.
Actually, do you know, I know what you mean, because there are certain expressions that Yaz pulls, where she looks surprised to hear what the Doctor's saying.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, she's listening to it. She's like, this is my comfort. This is like, I know the Doctor's going to talk with me in this. Like, this is
that's
my comfort.
Right, yeah,
but then sometimes I'm like, wait, has she heard this before? Because surely if it's been 3 years, I'd listen to that a lot. Like Bell with the Vinder one.
Yeah.
I feel like you would probably listen to it a lot, and you'd end up learning it.
I got the impression when she took the thing out, the little triangular thing, that she knew what it was and how to use it.
Yeah, I think she knew what it was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch that again.
Or whether the Doctor just had told her about it before, so she was like, oh, it's this.
And maybe she hasn't actually pulled it out since then.
Possibly, yeah.
Because
you're right. It was possibly 2 weeks for the Doctor, but 3 years for them, because obviously wherever the Doctor is,
broken.
Time is moving differently. Yeah.
But it's a great moment.
And because the Doctor's not even in a universe, the time must be very weird.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's the fan theory to cover the
time stuff. You've got us thinking about it now. But I love that these things are ambiguous. So you can be quite convinced that your interpretation of it is absolutely 100% rock solid. And then when you think about it, you're like, oh, actually, almost like a division. We didn't know until now, really, that it was a Gallifreyan thing. We just and that's fine. But
just assumed, but now they've said it. Yeah,
it's stupid and a bit slow, but it's a lot of fun. Do you know this series has? It's really got the fandom talking again. You know what I mean? It's really I think it's actually raised the bar on the kind of storytelling that Doctor Who can do. It's almost like I've always known it can do this sort of thing, and it has attempted it in the past with these little mini arcs and things. But this is the first time it's really decided, or the producer really decided, well, this year we're really going to go for it.
Yeah.
Tell this massive story, and it is massive. It's delivering on all fronts, and there's some very interesting conversations going on in fandom, some great speculations, some some good ideas, some thoughts, and there's also a lot of nonsense out there as well. But that's great because it's just the general buzz of the conversation.
It might well be nonsense, but they're still talking about it. Which
we're still talking about it. It's back in the press again. We all right. So we had this dumb thing from that idiot MP.
Oh yeah.
So,
that was fun.
But again, people are talking about it, right? It's forcing people almost to kind of question things again, and this is what Doctor Who has always done. It is so deeply embedded into our culture.
Yeah, it really is.
You can't escape it. And when it gets people talking about it and asking things and looking at the story and looking at ways almost to bring it into the real world, for what it stands for, for the values it represents, even if some idiot decides that those values ought to be challenged.
You might have
bones about this somewhere, really. The guy's an arsehole, but
he's an idiot. You might have seen a tweet I put out about it, but he's tried to use the one character to justify crime, the one character that doesn't use weaponry, fight, just uses genius and kindness, and is really a pretty poor example of why you'd turn to crime.
But then there you go. It's like most politicians, they have absolutely no clue what they're talking about.
He's talking shit.
Yes. Anyways, there you go.
Sorry,
So back to the show at hand then. So is there anything we've missed out yet? So we've done Kate Stewart, we've done
there was a few shots of the weird wooden house thing.
Oh yeah, that came back in, doesn't it? That's something we still don't know.
It's just kind of like
one.
I'm absolutely certain that not everything is going to be resolved by the end of next week.
What I had to do, right? Because after we watched Strictly results, I was like, wait, is the Doctor Who episode longer next week? It's not. It's only an hour. And I'm like, how can they do it in an hour? I was like, it must be longer. It must be longer.
It's going to end on another cliffhanger, isn't it?
It will do, yeah. And I'm absolutely certain it will carry on at least into the New Year one, which is only less than a month away.
I hope it carries on into another Doctor, because that would be really cool.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe not the Flux storyline, but definitely, like you said earlier, the Timeless Child one.
It depends what RTD will do with it, doesn't it? I also really like the imagery of that massive field of angels.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, we haven't really talked about that. We skipped straight past that.
Yeah, and the get out from being an angel was pretty swift, but I kind of didn't care because
do you know what?
I don't think she is not an angel anymore. I think she's still an angel.
You think she's still got that? That's possible. That's a good thing.
Because I feel like maybe when the angels become angels, it's like we saw the Doctor, like they're in a field of angels, and that they are human to themselves, or alien, or whatever species they may be, but to everyone else they are an angel, and they're being like,
and they perceive other angels as stone angels, right? This is great, because your brain's good.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah, because we have our own self-image of what we are, right, all the time. And, but how does that look to other people? And let's say if these angels sort of, what do they call it, quantum locked or something. So
well, no one's ever seen an angel in its true form. Maybe that's
except the angel itself, because the angel knows what it is, right?
Yeah, they're all different, imprisoned as weaponry. Yeah. Shall we have a look at some comments?
Go on then.
Other people.
See what everyone else has been saying.
We've got a comment from. So we have to follow up on this. This is from Rich Harmon, who's at Rich Harmon 13. He says, I have a theory which I'm dying to share, but for spoiler purposes, I'm going to keep it to myself. It's agonizing. but what I will say is this. I've been a Who fan for 30 years, and I've never been so engrossed as I am right now. Flux is just fabulous. And then there's another comment here from Orinoco McGee, who's at Deadly Night. I have a theory involving a cosmic Yggdrasil, which is from Thor.
Oh, the world tree. Yeah.
And how the Flux. Oh. and how the Flux was similar to Ragnarok, and also that Aswok was some type of Norn/mysterious person that existed between worlds.
Plays on that whole mythology, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, that's quite interesting. Right, some more comments. Lataro Medina at Doc Lataro, he says, crazy episode. So many cool moments, I can't even begin to unpack it all. Love the Doctor's and Tecteun's double act of gaslighting mother and an abused child. The kind of tragic stuff you don't expect in Doctor Who.
That's a good point.
But now, so he's putting quotes, the board is set, the pieces are moving, and a gif of Gandalf saying, we come to it at last, a great battle of our time. Essentially, Lataro has quite accurately verbalized that with cock up of what I was trying to say earlier. This is putting everyone in place for the finale.
Moving the pieces around, yes.
Yes. Salty Space Ghost, who's at Salty Grrl, says every scene was fun. I'm really enjoying the abundance of evil villains and mysterious plot lines. Delicious classic Who. Working on a theory, I love it, everyone's got theories, of how it all comes together in the finale. The TARDIS has been too quiet. I'm thinking Kate and the TARDIS team up to save the day. That's interesting.
Yeah. And also, can I just butt in with this one?
Yep.
Dan talked about this. The TARDIS that's been a unit.
The unit.
Right? Well, whose TARDIS was that?
Say again.
Was it the third Doctor's
Unless
TARDIS?
it's just a police box.
It did look different. Did it look different?
It looks, yeah. Oh, it's totally one of the classic Doctors.
That's what I thought.
Notes about that. But then they said, the old general said they picked it up on a Devon beach. And I was trying to rack my brains.
No, he said it was in a Devon town, which was where the Village of Angels was. Because then they turned it into a Village of Angels.
And people kept on going missing. So they just turned it into a military base.
Yeah, which was also referenced in Village of Angels.
Or maybe the TARDIS looks different, maybe because it's been left there.
See, I was thinking it could have been the first Doctor's TARDIS from the Smugglers or something. I was overthinking it this time.
Oh, well, you could be right.
Was Angels in Devon?
I think it was, yeah. I think it was actually.
Yeah,
look it up quickly.
But it did look different because it looked smaller, didn't it?
It did look different, and the light wasn't the same on the top.
No, that's why I thought it could be like the first, second, or even the third Doctors. The third Doctors would kind of make sense. And also, as well, with the dates coming in through units, right? So does this put an end to the unit dating conundrum? When did those unit stories happen? So unit was set up in 1950. Oh my God, I've forgotten the dates. 1958. Then we see them again a few years later, right, in the 60s, just after the War Machines, because they referenced the post office tower thing. And then we see them again in the 80s.
Oh, also nice little bit of Lethbridge Stewart being through a door. That was really nice.
That's right. Yeah, that's our new corporal up there. Yeah. Oh, you can't. Well, yeah, go on. You
right. So, Village of Angels was set in Devon, and it was in a village called Mediton, which was nicknamed the Cursed Village, for famed for its mysterious disappearance of all of its residents.
Right.
But then wasn't that village kind of taken out of space and time? Though?
Yeah, it was being taken out, but maybe UNIT saw that happening.
Or maybe the TARDIS somehow slipped through it somehow and
got back into Devon Town, a different one.
Got back.
Maybe the TARDIS is being pulled in all sorts of different directions now.
Well,
maybe that's why the
TARDIS is having a bit of a meltdown.
It's having a total meltdown.
Yeah.
But how many versions of the TARDIS must exist through those decades?
So many.
How many versions of the TARDIS? And if it's the same thing and it's multi-dimensional and everything else, and it's within the same sort of space as its future and past selves and alternative present selves, then no wonder it's confused. No wonder it's leaking oil.
Right, got one from Aidan at Aidan01. Fantastic episode yet again. Was so great to see Kate back. Love the nods to the War Machine and the Brigadier.
The revelation,
excuse me. The revelation that Aswok was Tecteun was great also. The Grand Serpent is a fantastic villain, and the way he killed the unit personnel was creepy.
Good.
Yeah, that was really good with the snake thing and the way the faces.
Serialized inside, presumed.
Yeah, that was pretty grim.
So cool.
Kendrick at DDP Kendrick says, I'm sounding like a broken record, but this was my favourite one yet. For these first 4 episodes, all felt a bit random, but watching this was like a jigsaw coming together. I really like the plot line of this series, and even though I've been a fan of the new era, I didn't expect myself to be saying that. So many questions answered, so many interesting concepts, massive thumbs up for me. The visuals are insanely good for Doctor Who, and the Grand Serpent plot line was great. And Dan and Yaz's plot line was great and kind of reminded me of Tintin.
Yeah.
Which is great.
But you know what? I think there's also a whole host, I mean, multiple series of Big Finish adventures just waiting to be told right there, yeah?
Yes.
You get John Bishop, Mandy
There's
Gill
ones-
and Hugo Lang together.
There's ones that need to be told when just the Doctor and Yaz are together.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
ones that need to be
definitely.
told of Doctor Yaz and Jericho. There's so many. So really just big gaps.
It was a lot of fun. Did I just call Jericho Hugo Lang? I did, didn't I? But that's actually his character in the Twin Dilemma, right? Who plays Jericho? What's his name?
Kevin McNally.
Kevin
From
McNally.
Pirates
Yeah,
of the Caribbean.
he was Hugo. He was Hugo in the Twin Dilemma, wasn't he? Colin Baker's first.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
story. I've
Just seen
from lately. And I thought that's not his real name, is it? So I just googled it. It's come up with all sorts of weird stuff. Dear, it's getting low.
I've just seen
yes.
tweet
What have you seen?
via the fans of Who from Mrs. Carvanista, who is at Mrs. J. McCrimmon. Companions from different parts of the north just teasing each other about it every now and then is something I had no idea I needed, but dang, I'm glad
Great.
Chibble has done it. It's glorious.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's that thing. You know, what did Yaz say to Dan?
Really, Dan, you're from Liverpool.
Yeah.
How come he never mentions it?
Yeah.
Well, one Scouser to another.
Right, I'm just having a quick look through here. Yeah, okay, no more comments than this. So yeah, another lot of positive feedback from people, which is great to see. So I think we're going to have a lot to talk about after next week, aren't we?
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, and probably many weeks thereafter. There's enough material
Yeah.
here to keep this podcast burning for many years. I'm
Yes,
sure.
there will be.
Oh, we're all dead.
We're all very old. We could be on our own Temple of Atropos, Kenny.
It's
Very
quite
old
interesting
family.
that you've gone for the till we're very old there. Paul and Freya's gone till we're dead and buried.
It's all black and white with kids these days, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
binary. It's one thing or another. We're alive or we're dead. There's no in between.
Yeah. I was just going to say, so we are planning future episode content, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Stuff next week. So you know, anyone who's listening now, we've got some exciting stuff coming up. I think
Very exciting.
very some things that we
Looking
can't
really
talk about right now, but hopefully we'll pull off and be awesome.
That's no. Hopefully, we got bookings, mate. Shh.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes, do stay tuned because we do have some surprises coming up very shortly. But right now we are focused on Flux. That's where all our attention is. So tune in next week for the finale. Oh my God, it's all going to be over next week.
Yeah, but then there's less than a month to go until
New Year
Infinity, maybe, or whatever they're going to call it.
Oh yeah, the little Infinity.
New Year's
logo.
Day, yeah, Little Infinity.
And we've got the logo change and all the marketing as well on all.
Yeah,
the
I really like that, but
love
I
it.
must say it's a little bit confusing when I get a notification come up on Twitter,
Yeah.
and you know, like, so I've set the Doctor Who one to alert me when they tweet, and various other accounts, and now because its logo's changing every week, I can't remember which one. You know, I'd got used to the orange thing, and now it's green. And what's it going to look like? You know,
That's
by
like
the
blue,
end of
I
it.
think.
I think it is sort of bluey, icy green sort of colour.
Yeah, it's changed again, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's blue.
Mm.
It's kind of like dark green at the top, and then it goes to like really light
Right.
nice blue.
It's like a gradient on it or something. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
cool.
awesome.
Right.
Good fun.
Well, we'll
Right.
say
Well,
goodbye for tonight. And
yes, hope you enjoyed
thank
our
you,
little
listeners.
episode.
And we'll catch you next week.
Hooray for the finale.
Oh,
Bye for now.
Goodbye, wonderful humans. So
spoken
long.
like a true
Farewell.
Sontaran.
Human scum. That's obviously the Sontaran, not me. But yeah, that's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sontaran's back next week.
Oh,
Ooh, I love
before we go, that shot of all the Sontaran ships surrounding
My
Earth.
God, yes.
Epic.
That was kaboom.
That was
That
kaboom.
was a kaboom moment, yeah. Yeah.
I could say kablam.
Oh,
I know.
very good.
Right.